Okay, so welcome back everybody to Fellowship of the Golden Age, and I've invited back to join us for a discussion Rosemarie Renn. It was a while ago. I don't know, a while ago when we,
Years ago.
yeah, when we talked. And if you want to get to know a little bit about Rosemarie's history, Rosemarie's history, then have a look at that video. But today we're going to be doing like Rosemarie plus more.
And this time I have actually published my book.
Yeah.
So, Creating Inner Peace has been published and is on Amazon.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
it's Creating Inner Peace, what will help you. And so it's asking you questions that that trigger you going inside yourself to listen to your own answers of what gives you peace, even though I give examples through my life, just to bring up various topics to trigger the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's out there.
So
7 years of work.
yeah, and thank you so much for doing that. So, would you say, like, what sort of spiritual student, are these books going to appeal to? Like, what stage of the path do you think it's going to work for people?
I think even if you're not spiritual, it could
Hmm.
have. I think at any level, it could trigger, since it's asking the person the question. I
Hmm.
think it doesn't matter where they're at.
Hmm.
Each reader will get something different out of it, because each reader is looking within themselves to see what works for them. So I don't think it matters where you're at. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, there are people who would take exception to my wording. Oh my, she's pretty out there. But there are people who would go, oh my, she's not very far on the path, is she? so, um, so, I mean, my wording is whatever it is, and it'll talk to whoever it talks to.
Yeah.
But I think any reader at any level can get something out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the people who will be, tuning into this podcast, they're mostly spiritual people who, ascended master students and everything. So, do you
Certainly,
reckon
if you
like
know,
it will help in up as part of the process of, that as part of the process of, uncovering separate selves and, digging deeper to help find those beliefs?
there's a tool um, for helping you look at your beliefs behind your feelings.
Yep.
Um, and um, and there's anyone, certainly anyone who is familiar with going into their own heart and inner work is it's like a slam dunk for
Yeah.
someone like that.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think it's a brilliant idea because, it does seem very daunting when you're first sort of beginning to look at all of this, and you just like, where do I start? Like, you have the teachings, but you just to ask yourself the question, what's the belief I'm holding here? And it's like, well, how do I find that? And like when you're in it, it's just so hard to see it. It's so hard to know how to go about the process. And if you've got something physical there that will just sort of assist in that unpacking process, because it's like, unpacking a suitcase and to see
Exactly.
what it is.
And I walk people through my experience of how I walk through it, and obviously everybody will do it differently, and
Mm.
hopefully some won't take as long as I took. But but I do. I mean, it is. I start out in childhood,
Mhm.
trying to help people see where they already have a foundation
Mhm.
of peace within themselves, and how, and looking at how their experiences in childhood and various people, even abusive people, helped us already create a foundation for creating inner peace within ourselves because of
Mhm.
the the way we responded. And then showing people exactly how that unfolded into my adulthood, so that they can see how it affects their career choices, and where they live and how they live and all that kind of stuff, and look at it, and then into old age.
Yeah, well, there is no time really. Like it's all, you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it, is that, it's just about shifting the way we experience that experience that happened back then. Like we're constantly changing that, and that's all that is. We're changing our minds. So, if I could give an example of, I feel like when I go through the resolution process, it is all over the place. Like for instance, I know I went through a major transition last year, about a year ago.
Oh yeah, when
And,
the tree fell.
yeah, I was sort of after that, but that was like the beginning of it all. And I know what happened about 4 months after that. I finally went through the transition for the initiations, um, for the 96 level into personal Christhood. And and I can see the experience, I can feel that turning point, that place of surrender and everything. And it's kind of funny because Kim is only just starting to release some videos about the initiations of Christhood. And just in the first video, he said, there's some belief that you're holding there at that 95th level. That's the one that's, stopping you from going there. And I just thought, oh, what was my one? And then all of a sudden, boom, it just dropped in. Even though I've done it, even though I've resolved it, I just saw it clear as crystal. It was, no one is allowed to challenge me. Like I was really, no one is allowed to challenge me. And so it's like a year after the event, all of a sudden the actual wording for the belief, it drops in like, clear as crystal. It's like, oh, well, it's already resolved, but I have the answer now. And so I don't know. That's sort of like an example of, one example. My process is different all the time. So, how could you give an example of, something or somehow, like, of how that process unfolds for you? Because I realize it's different for all of us, how we go through it.
Well, this is a really materialistic example,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's not a specific example, but I spent a year researching what I wanted in a computer and how I wanted to. And so I was with a friend. I walked into a store and I said, I'm going to buy that computer. So she thinks I just instantaneously decided that's the computer I want. She doesn't realize I have spreadsheets. I spent a year researching and studying and putting all this effort into
Yeah,
that one moment of instantaneous decision.
yeah,
So that's what I heard you saying. You have this, like it took a year, and then so it took a year of preparation
yeah.
for those words to be able to sink into your conscious mind and go, oh yeah, oh, isn't that obvious? And yeah, that's exactly how it happens. It's you you work on it and you work on it and you work on it,
Yep.
and my 32 years of healing. And then one day I was asked to introduce myself to a group of people who had been abused, and I did not want them to identify me as someone who had survived. I didn't want to be a survivor anymore. I didn't want to be a person in hospital anymore. And I introduced myself as a child at play. And that was all I said. And I didn't tell them. They would have understood, and they would have listened, and they would have heard. And I didn't feel like saying it. I had taken a shattered soul. I had put all the mosaics of that shattered soul back together. I had written the book Healing Trauma, which I'll publish this year sometime. I had it was finished 13 years ago. I had but I didn't. I was letting that. I had put that self together, and now I was letting that self die. It was a big moment for me.
I get it. So, question, just brief question. Is that, like, when you say that and everything, this is just for the clarity, is that, like, do you still acknowledge that, you know, that experience of abuse and being in that, you know, subjected to that rage and hate cult, like, it's still, like, no, that still happened, correct, in your memory, but it's just you're redefining how you're going to, what's the word, frame it.
Yeah, it's framed completely differently.
Yeah.
After that, there was about 4 years where I couldn't even mention it at all. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I wanted to distance. Yeah. And now when I talk about it, it's almost like it happened to someone else, even though I acknowledge it as part of my history.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no identification whatsoever with the suffering or the pain or the anguish or the shattering or the trauma I mean, that's all in there, but it's like you took a trip to Canada and now you're back in the United States. I mean, not that Canada is traumatic at all. I mean, Canada is one of the nicest countries to visit. But it's like you took a trip somewhere, and even if it was an enjoyable place, it's just, you have to look at the pictures to remember it. And so you actually have to pull the memories up in order to even be able to tell somebody about it, because it's just so far gone.
Yeah.
Like a trip when you had as a child that you still remember bits and pieces of, but when you tell somebody about it, you re-experience some of the feelings you had, or some of the aha moments you had, but you don't actually re-experience the trip.
Yeah, and it's like, in a way, it's no different, and technically it is, like, like a past life, but it's just not a past life in another body. Like, it's just Well, in a way, because our
in a
bodies keep
way.
regenerating themselves, like maybe it is almost like another body. But
In a way.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so do you think, because, like I know so there's different, we've all, walked different paths and had different experiences, but not everyone has experienced in this lifetime a particular, specific trauma experiences. I know I have. And so I can sort of, while I haven't had the same experience you had, and it wasn't in my childhood, I can sort of, I have my own frame of reference looking at it, which is like, I think I have had to, and I'm still working through a little bit more. Like it's almost like PTSD, that where it's relating to the energy that's stored in my body, but I do have to resolve it psychologically. So there's almost like these jarring moments where, it's there, and I have to look at it and, and I can work through it and I can resolve it and everything. But the actual abuse experience, like that just becomes less and less real. Like I just don't feel identified with it any longer. Like, it just happens less and less, so that the point that you're talking about, where it's no more than just like this memory that's not actually associated with suffering. Like, so do you, from like a PTSD perspective, can you sort of relate to like, your own life and processing all of this? Like,
I don't have PTSD
oh,
anymore.
okay.
It's like,
Okay. But anymore, but I
cool.
mean, in the past, like, yeah, like, can you
Yeah,
see that that
yeah.
happened?
Where you would walk into a situation and you'd be triggered and you wouldn't know what was triggering you and you wouldn't know what was going on, and you'd have to go home and uh, try to figure out, okay, whatever. Why does my elbow suddenly ache? Something awful. I haven't done anything to it.
Yeah.
What's going on? Why am I feeling like this? Why do I suddenly feel so heavy and so why was, I was actually happy, and then suddenly I was like, oh, the world is such an awful. I'm like, what happened? What? And so then it's like, okay, who said what? Why did what was the actual trigger? What was the moment that I noticed the shift? Oh, okay. What was I feeling? Oh, all right. Why does that feeling, why is that causing this reaction? Oh, because I believe that I was in, that smell caused me to feel like, oh my God, something awful's gonna happen, and I went into protective mode, and it's like, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just doesn't happen anymore.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like, you get that trigger, the episode, and then it's like, just pulling on this little tiny thread of cotton, and you just find your way all the way back to it. And it's like, it's almost like, going on that journey with Mother Mary through, through those hallways and into the theatre, where you're
Oh,
looking at that very
exactly.
first life, and then you look
Oh,
and you
that's a
see, and
marvelous
then you
meditation.
finally sort of, you go right into it, and then you realize it's not real. Like, you know what I mean? It's not real. It's not here anymore. And but you can see, you actually find the link from here to there, like, or there to
Right.
here rather. And then you can,
Melt
I
those
guess, with Archangel
images.
Michael, cut that tie, and it's gone. It's no longer a
You
part of
melt those images, and you let Mother Mary use her handkerchief to wipe up
the
the
snot.
puddle of water, and she places the handkerchief in her heart, and it's gone. and yeah, she's right there holding your hand the whole time, just like Michael goes with you into the center of the tornado or the hurricane or the cyclone, whatever it is you're going into the middle of. I put drawers in Pandora's box so that I could. Okay, I'll look at this much. I don't need to do it all at once.
Yeah, I know. And see, look, in that way, like I'm actually kind of honestly, I feel actually really grateful to have experienced, the trauma in this lifetime because it's almost like the portal to get back into those past life ones. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I just
Exactly. It
it's
showed
sort of
me the way.
it's a clearer sort of it's almost easier if you really sort of work on it. Like I guess, because you don't have to travel back to past lives, or at least the energy, like you can just be assured that that energy is there. But
I
I
had
like it.
already.
I honestly don't mind. I can follow my way back, and it actually helps me to see how my mind was framing it, and just to change my experience of that. Like I just go, oh, that's not a helpful way to look at it, and
I had already been doing 25 years of healing when I found Kim in 2006.
yep.
And so when he um when he was talking about working on your psychology, it was just like, oh yeah, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, they're past lives. Oh, good. Let's go open that drawer. And then primal lifetime. That was just
Yeah.
huge. It was like, oh, that's why I do that. That's why just this. The teachings through Kim let me experience me in such a far more positive manner.
Yeah.
If I had never had Ascendant Master teachings, I would probably still be recreating the traumas.
Mm.
I might be marrying some, excuse me, asshole.
Yeah.
Who knows? And now I'm just like, I look at somebody and I go, honey, why are you still staying in that? Walk
Yeah.
away. Walk
Yeah.
away, dear. And I had a moment. Sandy and I were in Arlington, and we went to a place at I don't know if it was at the Jefferson. I don't know if it was Thomas Jefferson's home, or I don't know where. Oh, we went to to Thomas Jefferson's retreat, where he would, when he wasn't at the White House, where he would go to go into his closet. The and they were giving a presentation on on children, on not children, but young girls being abducted from wherever they were and taken to a different state and told to go up to semi-drivers and that they had to come back with a certain amount of money from having sex with these various semi-drivers, and some of the semi-drivers wouldn't pay them, and that they had to that if they didn't bring back a certain amount of money, they wouldn't be taken back home. And who knows how many of them were taken back home anyway.
Mm.
it triggered me so bad. And so they had a call for suicide prevention line. And the lady who was with me said, let's become suicide prevention operators. Like, no, I cannot think of anything worse. I do not want to be in that moment with somebody listening to how awful that moment is, and with the intention of trying to ease it for them. It would be a very hard position to be in there. I mean, you just
have to be very non-attached, wouldn't you? Like, really? Yeah. I mean, I empathize with, I know what that feeling is, when those demons are telling you to kill yourself and everything. It's terrifying.
I ran away. I ran from her, literally. I ran to the park, and she knew enough not to follow me, and she just went off under a tree and started praying to the Ascended Masters. and I ran into this park until I just fell on the ground, and I could not even call to Archangel Michael.
Wow, they had a grip on you.
I finally realized, this was when I still did experience PTSD, obviously.
Yeah.
And and you can see, I mean, it doesn't make me shake like that, but I noticed that my hand was shaking, so I exaggerated it.
You're following that thread back into the experience. Interesting.
And so it took me, I don't know, it took like a half an hour or something before I could finally call to Archangel Michael, and then finally I was able to squeak out the words, walk away. And then, I don't know, like another half an hour, I don't even know how long I was there, how patient this lady was with me. But I was able to finally get to a point where I could go, okay, let's blast out into the collective. If you're in this situation, you don't try to get the money. You walk away. You walk away. Okay, walk away. Get out of the situation. You do not need to be abused. And I was able to finally claim my power and and put that message out there. And I still, so often, I'll just whisper, walk away. All you gotta do, walk away. If you can't walk away physically, then walk away in your heart.
Yeah.
Walk away. It's time.
Yeah.
We're given so much help right now. You have assistance. Walk away.
Yeah.
And so it was a moment, but oh my gosh, it was awful.
Yeah. Well, because I guess from where I'm looking, like to be able to be of service, to be able to put that into into the matter realm, to say walk away, like to just have those words echoing there so that they will reverberate strongly enough. You had to go into the reality of how it feels when you're actually experiencing being trapped in it. You've got to go, because it's just overwhelming, and there's just there seems to be no escape. And so this little echo of a voice saying walk away, and it's in the physical realm, like. And I see it. I see the service in what you've done there. Like,
where you have the experience of knowing exactly what it's like to be completely paralyzed with fear, and so you you're able to put all of those years of
Yeah.
of walking past that and pulling yourself out of it, just like all the spreadsheets for the computer.
Yeah.
You're able to pull on all that knowledge and all of those emotional shifts and all of those letting go of the idea that you deserved it, or oh my gosh, is there something intrinsically wrong with me, or did God actually create me defective somehow? What, he sneezed while he was creating me? and somehow I missed something, and all these things that the fallen beings were hammering into us while they
Yeah.
were abusing us. And you
And
look
we
at each of these
self-created it.
lines and go, no, that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah, and we self-created it. Like, as we sort of begin to see it, like that's the only way we can uncreate it, is to accept, I know it was forced on me, but I mean, I accepted that and believed it. And yeah.
Now you don't have to anymore. And yeah, you're able to take all of that. What When I say walk away, and it comes from the bottom of my gut, I'm putting all of my experience into it. It's like, I know it's possible.
Mm, mm,
I'm not telling you to do something that someone hasn't done.
yeah.
And I know it's necessary.
Yeah. And it begins with, like, because I've just been thinking about this just recently with a recent Kuan Yin teaching, which is, it's about shifting your experience, and it begins in that moment, the walk away moment, when it doesn't begin actually with physically escaping the situation, but it
Right,
begins up
right.
here.
Yeah,
It
at
begins up
first.
here where it's like, I can change this. I can change the
Exactly.
way I experience this, and I'm making a choice. And
Exactly.
and then comes another little choice and another, and it just keeps, shifting bit by bit until
Exactly. You
it's
claim your
almost, I don't
power.
know, somehow you can do it. Like somehow it eventually physically changes and you're out. And then there's more.
Exactly.
Then there's more. Like that.
Then there's the primal light. Um, yeah, there's the every single little decision you make adds to reclaiming your power, and it multiplies, and like our causal bodies, it you start out with a little tiny, less than a pea,
Yeah, a
and
drop of light, a drop of light.
and you keep expanding it until you have power,
Yeah, and
and
that's the
there's no
power. That's
question.
the power that, you know, what we carried with us from when we came from, a natural planet. We experienced that sense of power of being able to manifest things instantly. We experienced it very differently on a natural planet, whereas here it is such a dense experience. So it really does require such patience to, and absolute faith that, with, as you're saying, like with each little bit, we're building that power up. It's a different process when you're deep in duality and in the fallen consciousness.
So hard.
It is hard. Let's acknowledge it. It really is hard, but honestly, there is a point where it's not hard anymore, like, because you're not suffering, but you know what that suffering is, so it's possible. There just comes this point where you just realize, it's just so much easier not to carry all of that burden of suffering. But it works. It
today
really.
today I had this vision. So I was thinking, what's the difference between saying yes to Jesus and saying yes to Saint Germain? Why is it easy for me to say yes to Jesus and not so easy to say yes to Saint Germain? And then I had to deal with my own foolishness, my own blockages, my blockage to Christhood. Oh, if I receive something from the Ascended Masters, then I'm responsible for getting it somehow into the mainstream, and I have to go be punished by all the fallen beings and blah 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 blah, all this foolishness and stupidity and lies. And so I went, oh yeah, I still have remnants of that, don't I? I need to let go of that. And a friend was talking about how she got in the car with Saint Germain and he took off and she was screaming because they were going, supersonic. and I was laughing and thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get in the car with, as soon as relative to the material world. I had a supervisor one time. You had to be real careful when you walked in and asked for his help with a problem because he was going to solve it. and you better be ready. And that's kind of the feeling with and you might not like how he was going to solve it. And Saint Germain, I kind of had the same feeling. You say yes to Saint Germain, and you better be ready for that supersonic car voyage because you're going to take off. And I'm not quite ready to take off. And so today I was going, yes, Saint Germain, yes, I'm ready. I had this picture of myself running up this hill with all this baggage and chains and weight dragging me. I just burst out laughing. It's like, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. That is so funny. Like, because we're in the process of organising a conference for to be in Sydney, Australia, like a year from now. And it only began back in Easter, so it's about a month that's transpired. It's Saint Germain is, like that's the, let's do it. Let's bring this golden age and find the direction. And there, it has been so fast because it's not just me, but, like there's lots of us, like we're like, yeah. And so it's go, go, go all the time. And I've just been constantly sort of, just having these moments and going, okay, I've just got to find balance here. You know what I mean? So I just turned to Saria and like, okay, let's do one thing at a time. We have to prioritize. Like, I can't deal with everything all at once because it's really full on, and especially when so it's Saint Germain plus a bunch of people who are all sort of tuning into that same accelerated energy. And so I'm just going to go, hang on, I'm a human being. and I have to work with what I have here, like, one thing at a time. So I'm getting it. Like, yeah, I don't have to say no to the energy, and I don't have to say no to Saint Germain, but I just say, I'm just going to prioritize this and just pop this one back here until it's time. We've got time. We've got a year, like,
Some of the deadlines that they put on you, I don't know if it's as bad in Australia as the United States, but anyway, to speak to the love and gentleness and beauty of the Ascended Masters, Saint Germain, while I'm going laughing hysterically at myself, he pops this little thought into my head. Do you think you could write a book? How about what can you and I can't even think of the word right now. What can you imagine? But that's not the right word. I'll have to listen to the teaching from New Year's again that Saint Germain was giving. But what can you imagine? And I go, oh, I can write a book that asks people, you know, can you imagine liquid energy? Can you imagine combining alchemy and science? And can you imagine, like I say, imagine's not the right word, but can you conceive of, anyway, he'll give me the right word again. Can you imagine putting alchemy and quantum physics together? I can put out a book that asks all these questions. It's not like I have to actually go in and do it, but I can help others do it. And it was like, oh, thank you, I can do that. And so they always give us what we can handle. They're so good. I mean, they've been at it a while.
And if we're not ready for it, then it's okay. But you know, like it's okay. We just take what works for us. Like the Saint Germain teaching about the quantum leaps and all of those little leaps along the way. Like it's just good. Because if we looked at how much we don't have to, but how much needs to be transcended to get to the ascension point, we would be overwhelmed with the sheer volume of it all. Like it's way more than 144 levels. But the thing is, once we get, like, because I never quite had the words for it, but I realized you're working on a self or whatever. Just let's say it's just one little self, but it's just like you peel back one layer, but that's just part of it. And then you come back and you go into the experience of, you peel back another layer and another and another, and then all of a sudden, oh, there we go. It's bye-bye. I can let you go now. Like it's all done. It's all resolved. And I guess that's what it is. That's all these little tiny steps, be it in resolving a separate self, or be it in conceive. You're just at the you're conceiving a book. You know what I mean? And you just conceive of it. That's all. And you never know. Then all of a sudden you just write something, and it's another little step. Like it's just like all these tiny little steps for that quantum leap. That meditation works for me. I love that one. Like the alchemy, the alchemy in action.
Yeah. What was the name of my first book? Freedom and Liberty, Personal Freedom and Liberty for All. I wrote that in a month. 1 month. But all I was doing was going through Kim's teachings and picking out the affirmations of what the Ascendant Masters have said that people are ready for. And so it was easy. I didn't have to do any forgiveness work. I didn't have to deal with any selves. I didn't have to there was, but creating inner peace took me 7 years. Well, because I found out, oh, I haven't forgiven this, I haven't forgiven that. Oh yeah, that brings up this. I have to work through this now and let go of these selves, and there was a lot of work. and so I can write the book that I wrote 13 years ago. It'll take me a while before I'm able to publish it, but this one that Saint Germain just flows through me, that'll be, I mean, that could be like a month type of thing. It's it makes it, I mean, everything has value, but some things are just so much easier.
Yeah, and it just begins, like what you were describing before, like, buying that computer, like, that's all it is. We just open ourselves up to the idea of oh, I could do that. And, and then, just another little bit of preparation, and then all of a sudden, when enough of the groundwork has been laid energetically, we're ready. We're ready
Hmm.
to receive.
Then it can happen spontaneously.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, um, I know for me in my journey, like, there was this particular point, and it was, like I said before, it was a year ago where I just finally was able to, I feel like that was the turning point into personal Christhood. And for me, it was just complete surrender. It wasn't about trying to be anything or to build myself up anymore. It was just realizing, like, seeing what I'd created and just seeing it. I saw it as like it was vanity. I just saw the ego and I thought, that's it. I'm done with that, and I let go. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm letting go of all of it. And it was almost like being stripped away of everything. Like, so did you have, like, I'm wondering for you, was there a particular point where you just, you could see this really distinct turning point where you just completely surrendered, or have you experienced your spiritual path differently?
Lots of those surrender points.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's um, there was a moment I was on a retreat in the mountains here in New Mexico, and I walked outside and I looked at the sun and I went, I'm a sunbeam. Oh, that's cool. I like being a sunbeam. And I walked back in and went, I'm a sunbeam. People kind of looked at me, but for me, it was a huge shift. Instead of I'm a broken individual and I don't know if I'm much good to anybody and I'm not sure and I don't know if I can take my next step and
Yeah,
what is this? And I mean, it was like, oh yeah, I got this. And so there have been lots of those. There there was a time when I was ranting and raving against the life on Earth, and
yeah.
I had this. I was given a vision of a classroom of spirits, I think maybe spirits considering coming into embodiment on Earth, and I was like going, no, don't do it. and but it, that moment also made me stop ranting and raving against life on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I don't know if it was like the frame of reference of, whoever was in the position of Maitreya, and, whoever was facilitating this class, or if it was the idea that there's so many of us that I don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Nothing I do am I doing alone. I'm part of this matrix and that matrix and this other group of souls and this, I got so much support and all these people putting their momentum in to the collective grid of energy that I can tap into and go, oh, thank you. Or I can go, okay, I'm giving all I got. Take it. Whoever can use it, use it. Whatever momentum I have, you're welcome to. And And so there are just so many, they talk about the circles and how you're, where they intersect. Well, geez, there are thousands of intersections,
Yeah,
I can tap
yeah,
into any one of them. And so it gave me that perspective of I'm not alone, and it gave me that firm knowledge of what one has done, all can do.
mm,
That we're 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 not here because we've been disposed of. We're
mm,
not in the trash bin of the universe. We're here because, for whatever reason, we wanted to experience separation.
mm-hmm.
And we're demonstrating a path out of it. Whether it was
Yeah,
love that brought us here or karma that brought us here, doesn't matter. Or whether we're an original inhabitant.
yeah,
We're here, we're doing it, and whatever we're doing has value. And it doesn't have value for just me, and it doesn't have value for everyone on the planet. Somehow, I certainly don't know how, it has value for universes, infinite universes of creation in material. It just boggles the
yeah. It does, doesn't it? It is
brain cells.
boggling. Yeah, yeah,
But somehow, and even if it has no value, well then, okay, it's an experience. I
yeah.
played tennis. I played tennis and I actually hit the ball once. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. But we actually put our hand up, for this mission, to do the big heave ho, to create this acceleration on the earth, to help. Because, we're not here to fix it. We're not here to fix the earth or anything like that. But we put up our hands and said, yeah, we're gonna help bring that energy matrix to accelerate it forward so that, it's there. It's that, the map's already there. The map towards ascension is already there. And it's our job is just to do that
Sorry.
and manifest our personal Christhood. And we know that everybody else who, is probably, people who are at stages where they couldn't even conceive of this and everything, actually following through and committing suicide and things like that. But it's possible, like just come back and you can do it. Like, we know that energy matrix is it's being multiplied at the moment. That's the thing that just gets me so excited, like what Jesus began and, and all the ones before him, like, we're a part of this very big wave of people, like, manifesting personal Christ. It's amazing.
And thankfully, many, many, many of you came out of some source of immense love. And I'm sure I did too somehow, but for me, what I remember is that I did not believe separation was possible. When whoever
Mm-hmm.
was in the Maitreya position um, um, was telling my class, I was going, I have to believe you because of who you are, but I don't believe you. I
Yeah.
don't believe anybody would choose separation. I don't believe anybody would want to experience that. No, I don't think God would allow it. Nope. Oh, well, okay. Experience.
You're like,
Oh,
what the hell?
oh, oh yeah. There are lots of
Yeah,
souls that kind of
a few million
experience
years
this.
later, and you're waking up. Like,
Yeah, when they say you've been
Oh.
on the earth long enough to go to that not much is new, it's like, oh yeah, no kidding. My eyes are crossed. I'm like, I'm so done. Please,
Yeah.
aren't I? And yet, okay, if I'm not, fine. But yeah, I don't know that I came with any great desire to to make a change, or like Kim talks about the white horse. I love that. Saint Germain said in his thing, my white horse was whiter than his white.
That was Jesus. Jesus. Yeah, I can see that.
I was like, I did. I mean, somebody, I don't know, geez, like 40, 50 years ago, somebody told me there was no such thing as a Pegasus. And I went, I own a Pegasus. What do you mean there's no such thing as a Pegasus? Obviously, there are
A Pegasus with
winged
a
horses.
unicorn horn as well, like definitely.
I drew a picture of my white winged horse. Of course there. And so, or rather like in the movie, whatever it's called, Avatar, where you connect to the horse.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, how it's not far-fetched to me, but I don't really remember a natural planet. I don't know if it's like so far away.
I just remember the sense that it was just, just just the sense of that baseline, like it just seems inconceivable of, the experience of duality and of separation. Because for me, I recall the mindset that I had, which in the mystery school preparing me for Earth, and I was kind of like, yeah, I got this. Yep, all right, it's all good. See ya.
Let's go.
Yeah, I understand. Just, don't waste your time explaining all of this to me. Let me do it. And then like, oh my God.
I wasn't ready. Let me come back. I
Get me
promise
out of here.
Yep.
Well, it's all doable. Like, it doesn't take too long, just, a couple of million years, but you can make your way out of it. It's all right. And well, actually, it can only take a lifetime. You can work through. I know for a fact that, I've gone right down this lifetime, digging deep into everything below the 48th level that was there. And I've resolved all of that, like, or most of it, you know what I mean? And I know it's totally possible. And this is one lifetime. So, yeah, it's doable.
It's
Yep,
doable.
don't have to waste your
And
time anymore.
being given so much help right now.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
I never thought to ask Jesus or Saint Germain or Mother Mary or Gautama Buddha or Kasumi or any of them, why did you come to Earth? What made you decide to come to have the experience you had before you ascended? I
Yeah.
might ask one of them.
Yeah, well, I think we're all sort of kind of similar, but it is, I think it just comes down to a little bit of a mindset and everything. But yeah, we were all wanted to help. I know that much. Like,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I say, I just didn't believe.
yeah, I know. Well, anyway, lesson learned, like there's oneness for a reason. And yeah, like, I'm not going to try and do this by myself anymore. Like, I'm a part of I'm a part of all of this beautiful energetic matrix. Like, I'm beginning to get glimpses of, of that alpha and omega polarity balance and how it keeps shifting. You know what I mean? Like, we have the alpha omega above and below, and then we have it within ourselves, and then that extends further out, to other beings. And I don't know, it's almost like holographic how it all works, and it's the most beautiful energetic thing. And there's just no, it's just learning, like, to not separate ourselves from that energetic flow. It's all a part of the river of life, just allowing that alpha omega to, what is it, energize, through us in every possible way. Like, it's always happening.
As soon as something happens to me and I go, oh, this is not right, this is not supposed to be happening, I and if I'm able to stay in that flow of, okay, so if I'm able to just go, okay, this is going on, whatever, let's deal with it.
Yeah.
Then I it's sort of like if I go into that, this is not supposed to be happening, this is not right, I'm not going to tolerate this, then I almost create this blockage against myself of, it's like, okay, when I talk to this person, they're not going to listen to me and they're not going to help me, and it's just going to be a waste of time. And so why do I have to make this phone call? And then, but if I'm able to go into the, oh, okay, so I need to make this phone call, I need to ask if they can help me, and we'll see what happens. Then I get surprised, and they're like very helpful, and and so if I'm able to, I don't know if you call it riding the wave or not, but if I'm able to go into it that way, it's much better. And if I'm able to just take a moment and go, beloved, I am presence. What would you like?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like, make the phone call.
Yeah, it's like a dance, isn't it? It's like a dance. Like, it's almost like you need to sort of have that experience of, that low vibration, that whatever it is, that mindset, a very earthly sort of mindset, but then just reach above, reach below, and it's just this beautiful dance. And I guess, that's what that flow is, of the river of life. And and the dance goes on. And we dance with others, we dance above, dance.
Yeah, it becomes fun. You can let it be fun.
Like, there's nothing wrong with that experience of the, feeling like, there's something wrong with this situation. There's nothing wrong with experiencing that. But we can change that in an instant by just flow above. And
I remember Kim talking about a time when he just laid down on his bed and said, beloved, I am presence. Well, I don't know what words he used. How do you see this situation? I know he did use those words because he told us. And that has stuck with me ever since he said it. How important that is to just take a moment and go, okay, how do you see this? And a lot of times I'll utilize it when I'm like, how do you see me on the path? Oh, I'll get this. You're doing fine. I go, oh, okay.
Oh, so lovely. So, Rosemarie, I think I've really enjoyed this dancing with you right now. It's been a beautiful experience to, experience you and your presence. And I've enjoyed where we flowed. We had no preparation, no thoughts, nothing about how this would flow. And it's flowed as it's flowed, as it, you know what I mean? And I think, I'm really happy with, I think there's a lot in here. A lot of beautiful gifts.
Okay, good, cool.
Okay. So thank you so much for joining, and till next.
Okay.
Bye-bye.